Hello friends, my name is Jansi Sangani and today we will continue our story. So let's we start. I conveyed the latest instruction to Dizin who was already dressed for departure. You and your institution, my friends, voice was etched in scroll. I, I prefer to trust master's written word. I shrugged my shoulders and seated myself with quite finely maturing angularity. Dizzy made for the door and closed it noisily behind him. As the room was rather dark, I moved nearer to a window overlooking the street. The scant sunlight suddenly increased to at intense brilliancy, in which the iron-barred window completely vanished. Against this dazzling background appeared the clearly materialized figure of Sri Yukteswar. Um, be- bewil- bewildered to the point of shock, I rose from my chair and knelt before him with my customary gesture of respectful greeting in at my guru's feet. I touched his shoes. These were a pair familiar to me, of orange dyed canvas soled with rock. His ochre Swami cloth brushed against me. I, I distinctly I distinctly felt not only the texture of his robe but also the gritty surface of the shoes and the pressures of his toes within them. Too much astounded to utter a word, I stopped up and gazed at him questioningly. I was pleased that you got my telepathic message. Master's voice was calm and entirely normal. I have now finished my business in Calcutta and shall arrive in Sarampore by the 10 o'clock train. As I still started mutely, Sri Yukteswar went on. This is not an appreciation, but my flesh and blood from. I have been divinely commanded to give you this experience rarely known on earth. Meet me at the station. You and Dizzy will see me coming toward you. Uh, Dressed as I am now, I shall be preceded by a fellow person and a passenger, a little boy carrying a silver jug. My guru placed both hands on my hand with a murmured blessing as he concluded with the words, Tabe Asi. I heard a peculiar remuling sound. His body began to melt gradually within the piercingly light. First his feet and legs vanished, then his torso and head, like a scroll behind rolled up. To the very last, I could feel his fingers resting lightly on my hair. The effulgences faded. Nothing remained before me but the barred window and a pale stream of sunlight. I remained in a half stupor, whether I had not been the victim of a hallucination. A certain fallen, a crestfallen Dizin soon entered the room. Master was not on the 9 o'clock train or even the 9:30. My friend made his announcement with a silently apologetic air. Come, I know he will arrive at 10 o'clock. I took Dizin's hand and rushed him forcibly along with me. Heedless of his protest, in about 10 minutes we entered the station where the train was already puffing to a halt. The whole train is filled with the light of Master's aura. He, he is here, I exclaimed joyfully. You dream so? Dizin laughed. Dizin laughed mockingly. Let us wait here. I told my friend details of the way in which our guru would approach us. As I finished my description, Sri Yukteswar came into view, wearing the same cloth I had seen a short time earlier. He walked slowly in the wake of a small lad bearing to a silver jug. For a moment, a wave of cold fear passed through me at the incredible strangers of my experience. I felt the materialized 20th century world slipping from me. Was I back in the ancient days when Zeus appeared before Peter on the sea? As Shri Yukteswar, a modern yogi Christ, neared the place where Dizin and I were standing speechless. Master smiled at my friend and remarked, I sent you message too, but you were unable to grasp it. Dizin was silent but glared at me suspiciously. After we had escorted our guru to his hermitage, my friend and I proceeded toward Serampore College. Dizin halted in the street, indignation streaming from his every pore. So master sent me a message. Yet you conclude it. I demand an explanation. Can I help it? If you mental mirror oscillated with such restlessness that you cannot register our guru's instruction, I retorted. The anger vanished from Dijin's face. I see what you mean, he said ruefully. But please explain how you could know about the child with the jug. By the time I had finished the story of Master's phenomenal appreciations at the boarding house that morning, my friend and I had reached Serampore College. The account I have just heard of our Guru's power, Dizin said, make me feel that any university in the world is only a kind only a only a kindergarten. Such things have been related to me that now all I have written appears in my eyes as of no greater value than straw. So spoke St. Thomas Aquinas, the the prince of uh, the prince of Solistic, in answer to his secretaries and en- secretaries Antiochus urgings that Summa theorem be to be completed. One day in 1973, during Mass in the Nepal's church, St. Thomas experienced a profound mystical insight. The glory of divine knowledge or so overwhelmed him that henceforth he took no interest in intellectuality. CF Sorka's words, as for me, all I know is that I know nothing. We do not visit Kashmir. Father, I want to invite Master and four friends to accompany me to the Himalaya foothills during my summer vacation. May I have 6 railway passes to Kashmir and enough money to cover our travel expenses? As I had expected, father laughed heartily. This is the third time you have given me the same cock and bull story. Didn't you make a similar request last summer? And the year before that? And the last moment, Shri Yukteswarji refused to go. It is true, father. I don't know why my guru will not give me his definite word about Kashmir. But if I tell him that I have already secured the passage from you somehow, I think that this time he will consent to make the journey. Father was unconvinced at the moment, but the following day, after some good humored gifts, he handed me six passage, and a roll of 10 rupees bill. I hardly think you theoretical trip need such practical props, he remarked. But here they are. That afternoon, I exhibited my booty to Sri Yukteswar. Thought he smiled at my enthusiasm His work were non-communal. I would like to go. We shall see. He made no comment when I asked his little hermitage discipline Kanai to accompany us. I also invited three other friends, Rajendranath Mitra, Jotin Odi, and one other boy. Our date of departure was set for the following Monday. On Saturday and Sunday, I stay in Calcutta, where marriage rites for a cousin were being celebrated at my family home. I arrived in Serampore with my luggage early Monday morning. Rajendra meet Rajendra meet me at the hermitage door. Although Master failed to make any explanation, his reluctance to visit Kashmir during those two summers may have been a foreknowledge that the time was not right for his illness there. Master is out walking. He has refused to go. I was equally grieved and obdurate. I will not give father a third chance to to ridicule to ridicule my chim- to ridicule my chimerical plans for Kashmir. The rest of us should go. Rajendra agreed. I left the ashram to find a servant. Kanai, I knew, would not take the trip without master, and someone was needed to look after the luggage. I I bethought myself of Bihari, previously a servant in my family home, who was now employed by a Sarampora schoolmaster. As I walked along briskly, I met my guru in front of the Christian church near a Sarampore courthouse. Where are you going? Sri Yukteswar's face was unsmiling. Sir, I hear that you and Kanai will not take the trip we have been planning. I am seeking Bihari. You will recall that the last year he was so desirous of seeing Kashmir that he even offered to survey without pay. I remember I remember nevertheless. I don't think Bihari will be willing to be. I was expected. He is just earlier waiting for this opportunity. My guru silently resumed his walk. I soon reached the schoolmaster's house, Bihari, in the courtyard, greeted me with a friendly warmth, and abruptly vanished as soon as I mentioned Kashmir. With a murmured word of apology, the servant left me and entered his employee's house. I waited half an hour, nervously assuring myself that Bihari's delay was being caused by preparations for his trip. Finally, I knocked at the front door. Bihari left by the back stairs about 30 minutes ago. A man informed me. A, s- a slight smile hovered about his lips. Departed sadly, wondering whether my invention my invention had been too corrosive or whether master unseen influences were at work. Passing the Christian church, again I saw my guru walking slowly toward me. Without waiting to hear my report, he exclaimed, so Bihari would not go. Now, what are your plans? I felt like a recalcitrant child who is determined to defy his masterful father. Sir, I am going to ask my uncle to lend me his servant Lal Dhari. See your uncle if you want so. Sri Yukteswar replied with a chuckle. But I hardly think you will enjoy the visit. Apprehensive but rebellious, I left my guru and I entered Serampore courthouse. My paternal uncle, uh, Sarada, it's a Sarada Ghosh, a government attorney, welcomed me efficiently. I am leaving today with some friends for Kashmir. I told him for years I have been looking forward to his Himalayan trip. I am happy for you, Mukunda. Is there anything I can do to make your journey more comfortable? This kind of words gave me a lift of encouragement. Dear uncle, I said, could you possibly spare me your servant? It's a Laldhari. My simple request had the effect on an earthquake. Uncle jumped so violently that his chair overturned. The paper on the desk flew in every direction, and his pipe along co-count stammered hubble bubble. It's a hubble bubble fell to the floor with a great clatter. You selfish young man, he shouted, quiringly, it's acquiringly with worth. What a prosperous idea! Who will look after me? If you take my servant on one of your pleasures jaunts, I concluded my surprise, reflecting that my amiable uncle's sudden change of front was only one more um, enigma in a day fully devoted to incomparably. My retreat from the courthouse office was more eloquent than dignified. I returned to the hermitage where my friends were expectantly gathered. I conven- convocation was growing in me that some sufficiency is if exceedingly recognized motive was behind master's attitude. Remorse seized me for having tied to that worth my guru's will. Mukunda, wouldn't you like to stay a while longer with me? Sri Yukteswar inquired. Rajendra and the others may go ahead now and wait for you in Calcutta. There will be plenty of time to catch the last evening train leaving Calcutta for Kashmir. Sir, I don't care to go without you, I said mournfully. My friends paid not the silent attentions to my remark. They summoned a hackingly courage and departed with all the luggage. Kanai and I sat quietly at our guru's feet. After a half hour of silence, Master rose and walked toward the second floor dignity balcony. It's a dining balcony, sorry. Can I please serve Mukunda? Can I please serve Mukunda's food? He strains leaves soon. Getting up from my blanket seat, I stretched suddenly with nausea and a ghastly churning sensations in my stomach. The stabbing pain was so intense that I felt I had been abruptly hurled into some violent hell. Groping blindly toward my guru, I call, I call, I collapsed before him, exhibiting all symptoms of the dead Associates cholera. Shri Yukteswar and Kanai carried me to the sitting room. I cried in agony, Master, Master, I surrender my life to you, for I believed it was indeed fast ebbing from the shores of my body. Shri Yukteswar put my head on his lap, stroking my forehead with energetic tenderness. You see, now what would have happened if you were at the station with your friends? He said. I had to took after you in his stranger way because you choose to doubt my judgment about talking the trip as this particular time. I understood at least, as the guest, as great masters seldom see fit to display their powers openly, a casual observers of the day's events would have considered them quite natural. My guru's invitations had been too subtle to be detected. He had inconspicuously worked his will through Bihari and my uncle and Rajendra and the others. Probably everyone, but me had thought the situations logical and normal. As Sri Yukeshwar never failed to observe his social obligations, he instructed Kanai to summon a physicians and to notify my uncle. Master, I protested, only you can help me. I am too far gone for any doctor. Child, you are protected by the divine Marquis. Don't worry about the doctor. He will not find you in this state. In this state, you are already held dead. With my guru's word, the extricating suffering left me. I sat up feebly. A doctor soon arrived and examined me carefully. You appear to have a passed through the worst. He said, I will take some specimens with the 4 laboratory tests. The following morning, the physicians arrived hurriedly. I was sitting up in good spirits. Well, 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 here you are, smiling and chatting as I thought you had no clothes, call with death. He pat my hand gently. I hardly expected to find you alive after I had discovered from the specimens that you decided was ascistiastic cholera. You are you are fortunate young man to have a guru with divine healing powers. I am convinced of it. I agreed worth-heartedly as the doctor was preparing to leave. Rajendra and Audi appeared at the door. The, re- the resentments in their faces changed into sympathy as they glanced at the physician the physicians and then at my somewhat worn continuances. We were energy when you didn't turn up as agreed at the Calcutta train. You have been sick? Yes, I could not help laughing as my friends placed the luggage in the same corner it had occupied yesterday. I I parapassed. There was a ship that sailed for Spain. Before it arrived, it was back again. Master entered the room. I permitted myself a conventional liberty and captured his hand lovingly. Guruji, I said from my 12th year on, I have made many unsuccessful attempts to reach the Himalayas. I am finally convinced that without your blessing, the goodness Parvati will not receive me. Weight of the mountains, Parvati is mythologically represented as the daughter of King Himalaya, whose home is a certain peak on a Tibet. It's a Tibetan border. Astonished travels passing below that inaccessible peak. View of far vast snow formations resembling a place with icy domes and tutors. Parvati, Kali, Durga, Uma, and other goddesses are expected of the Jaganmatri, divine mother of the world, variously named to signalize the particular functions. God of Shiva in his para or translated aspect in intentive in creation. His Shakti, energy actively force, is related to his consent, the producive female powers that make possible the infinite unfoldments in the cosmos. Mythologically, tales in the Puranas give the Himalayas as the abode of Shiva. The goddess Ganga came down from the sky to be the presiding deity of the Himalayas secured river. The Gangas is therefore potentially said to flow from heaven to earth through the hair of Shiva, king of yogis, and the destroyer, reverend of the Trinity. Kalidasa and the Indian Shakespeare described the Himalayas as the Himalayas as the masked laughter of Shiva. The reader may manage to imagine that a street of great white teeth writes F. W. Thomas in The Legacy of India. It's Oxford. But the full idea may still expect him unless he is realized the figure of the grand assets internally enthroned in the two-bearing mountain world, where the Gangas in her descents from heaven passed through his mated locks with the moon their crest jewel. In Hindu art, Shiva is often shown wearing an Anatole skin of a velvet backline. It's a blackness symbolizing the darkness and mystery of night. The sole garments of him who is a Digambara sky clad. Certain Shiva sits wear no clothing in honor of the Lord who owns nothing and everything. One of the patent sons of Kashmir and the 14th century Lala Yogeshwari is the supreme mistress of yoga, was a sky-clad Shiva devotee, uh, a scandalized, contemporary asked the sant why she observed nudely. Why not? Lala replied tartly, I see no man about. To Lala's somehow dastardly way of thinking, he who lacked God realization, did not discovered and not deserved the name of man. She press, she she prescribed a technique closely alienated to Kriya Yoga, whose liberatory efficiency she celebrated in numerous quatrains. I translated one of them there. Which acid of sorrow have I not drunk? Countless my rounds of birth and death. Lo, not but nectar in my cup, quaffed by the art of breath. Undergoing no mortal death, the sun dematerialized herself in a fire later. She appreciated before her grievingly townspeople, living from enveloped in golden robes, fully clad at least. We visit Kashmir. You are strong enough now to travel. I will accompany you to Kashmir, Sri Yukteswar informed me 2 days after my miraculous recovery from Asiensis cholera. That evening, our party of six entered for the north. Our first leisurely stop was at Simla, a queenly city. It's the resting on throne of Himalayas hill. We strolled, we strolled over the steps, treatise, admiring the magnificent view. English strawberries for sale, cried an old woman, sequenting in a picturesque open a marketplace. Master was curious about the strange little red fruits, and he bought a large basket of them and offered it to Kanai and me, who were nearby. I tasted one berry, but spat it hastily on the ground. Sir, what a sour fruit! I could never like the strawberries. My guru laughed. Oh, you will like them. In America, at a dinner there, your hostess will serve them with sugar and cream. After she has mashed the berries with a fork. You will taste them and say, "What delicious strawberries!" Then you will remember this day in Shimla. Sir Yukteswar's forecast vanished from my mind, but repeated there many years later, shortly after my arrival in America. I was a dinner guest at the home of Mrs. Alice and T. Hasley in Somerville, Massachusetts, when a dessert of strawberries was put on the table. My hostess picked up a fork and mashed my berries, adding cream and sugar. The fruits is rather tart. Rather, I think you will like it fixed this way, she remarked. I took a mouthful. In the mouthful, what delicious strawberries! I exclaimed at once. My guru's predictions in Shimla emerged from the fathomless cave of memory. I was I was awestruck to realize that long ago his God-turned mind had detected the program of karmic uh, events wandering in the idea of a fertility. It's a fertility. Our party soon left Shimla and entered of Rawalpindi. There we hired a large closed top Landua drawn by the two horses for a 7 day trip to Srinagar, capital of Kashmir. Srinagar is the capital of Kashmir. The second day of the northward journey brought into a view the true Himalayas westerns is the as the iron wheels of our carriage carried along the hot stony roads. We were interpreted with a changing vistas of mountainous gardener. Sir, Odi said to Master, I am greatly enjoying these gorgeous, gorgeous scenes in your holy company. I felt a throb of pleasure at Odi's appreciation, for I was acting as host on this trip. Shri Yukteswar caught my thought. He turned to me and whispered, don't flatter yourself. Audi is not nearly as entranced with the scenery as he is with the prospect of leaving us long enough to have a cigarette. I was shocked. Sir, I said in an undertone, please do not break our harmony by these unpleasant words. I can hardly believe that Audi is hankering for a smoke. I looked apprehensively at my usually inspirational guru. Very well, I won't say anything to Audi. Master chuckled, but you will see soon. When the Landua held that he is quite to seize his opportunity, he carriage arrived at a small caravanserai as our horses were led to be watered. Audi inquired, Sir, do you mind if I ride a while with a driver? I would like to get a little outside air. Sri Yukteswar gave permission, but remarked to me, he wants fresh smoke and not fresh air. The Landua resumed its noisy progress over the dusty roads. Master's eyes were twinkling. He instructed, he instructed me, crane up your neck to through the carriage door and see what Audi is doing with the air. I obeyed and was startled to observe Audi in the act of exhaling rings of a cigarette smoke. My glance toward Sri Yukteswar was apologist. You are right, as always, sir. Audi is enjoying a puff along with a paramora. It's with a paramora. I I surmised that my friends had received a gift from the cab driver. I knew that Audi had not carried any cigarettes from Calcutta. We continued on the labyrinthine way, deliberating in views of Rivers Valley's precipitous and multitudinous mountains triers. Each night we stopped at a rustic inn and cooked our food. Sri Yukteswar took a special care of my diet, insisting that I have lime juice at all meal. I was still weak, but daily improving throat and the rattlingly carriage and had been a stringly designed for a discomfort. Its joyous anticipations filled our hearts as we neared central Kashmir, paradise land of Lotus Lake. It's a floating garden, galley compliant houseboats, and the many breezed Zalium River and flow-strewn pastures, all encircled by the Himalayas. Our approach to Srinagar was thought an even years of tall, welcoming trees. We engaged a room at the double stories in overlooking the noble hills. No running water was unavailable. Well drew our supply from a nearby well. The summer whatever was ideal, warm days and silently cold nights. He made a pilgrimage to an ancient Srinagar temple decided to Swami Shankara. As I gazed upon the mountain peak hermitage bold against the sky, I fell into an enthusiast trance. A vision appeared of a hilltop mansion in a distant land. The lofty Shankara temple in Srinagar became transformed into the edifice where, years later, I established self-realization, fellowship headquarters in America. When I first visit, when I first visited Los Angeles in California, and saw the large building on the crest of Mount Washington, I recognized it at once from my long past vision in Kashmir and elsewhere. A few days in Srinagar, then one to Gulmarg, mountain paths of flower in 8,500 feet height. There I had many that I had my first ride on a large horse. Rajendra Mountain, a small trotter, one whose heart was fired by ambitions for speed. We ventured onto the very steep uh, Khilan Marg. The path led through a dense forest abounding in the tree mushrooms, where the mist shrouded trails were often a precarious, but Rajendra's little animal never permitted my oversized steed a moment's rest. Even at the most perilous turns on unwittingly came Rajendra's horse, oblivious to all but the joy of competition. Our strenuous race was rewarded by a breathtaking view. For the first time in this life, I gazed in all directions at the sublime snow-capped Himalayas, lying tier upon tier like shield-outs of huge polar bears. My eyes feasted exclusively on endless reach of icy mountains against the sunny blue skies. I rolled merely with my young companions, all wearing overcoats on the sparkling white slopes. On our downward trip, we saw afar a vast carpet of yellow flowers wholly transfiguring the bleak hills. Our next excursions were to the famous pleasure gardens of Emperor uh, Jehangir at Shalimar and Nishtaba. The ancient places at Nishat Bagh is built directly over a natural waterfall. Rushing down from the mountains, the torrent has been regulated through ingenious contrivance to flow over colorful tracks and to gush into fountains amid the dazzling flower beads. The stream also enters several of the place room, ultimately dropping a fairy light into the lake below. These immense gardens are riotous with color. Rose, jasmine, roses, jasmines. It's a lilies and is a snapguardians, pansies, lavender, poppins, and emerald encirclement. Encirclement is formed by symmetrical rows of chirans like chirans and cypresses. Third one is cherry tree. Beyond them tower the white ostriches of the Himalayas. So-called Kashmir grapes are considered to rare delicately. It's delicately in Calcutta. Rajendra, who had been talking about the grape feast awaiting us in Kashmir, was disappointed to find there no large vineyard. Now and then I chuffed him over his baseless anticipations. Oh, I have become so much gaudier with grapes I can't walk. I would say the invisible grapes, the breathing within me. Later, we heard that sweet grapes grew abundantly in Kabul, west of Kashmir. We, we consoled we consoled ourselves with the ice cream made of rabari. It's a heavily concealed milk. It's a flavored with whole pistachio nuts. We took several trips in shikars, small boats shaded by red embroidered canopies, coursing along the intricate channels of Dal Lake. Network of canals like a Wortley spider web. Here, the numerous floating gardens. It's cutely improvised with logs and earth. Strike one with amazement. So encourages is the first sight of vegetables and melons growing in the midst of west waters. Occasionally one sees a peasants disdaining me to be rooted to the soil, towing his square plot of land to a new location in the many-fingered lake. In this storied, one find an epitome of all earth beauties. The Lady of Kashmir is mountain crowded, lake gardened and flower showed in later year. After I had toured many countries, I understood why Kashmir is often called me world's most scenic spot. It possesses some of the charms of the Swiss Alps and of Loch Lomond in Scotland, and of the exquisite English lakes. An American traveler in Kashmir finds much to remind him of the rugged grandeur of Alaska and of a Pikes Peak near Danville. As entries in a science beauty contest, I offered for first prize either the gorgeous view of a Scolimprico in Mexico, where skies, mountains, and popals are reflected amid aimed playful fish in myriad lands of water, or the lakes of Kashmir, guaranteed it's guarded like beautiful maidens by the stern surveillances of the Himalayas. These two places stand out in my memory as the Himalayas. These two places stand out in my memory as the lowliest spot on earth. Yet I was avied also when I beheld the wonders of Yellowstone National Park and of the Grand Canyon of the Colorado and of Alaska. Yellowstone is perhaps the only region on earth where one may see numerous geysers erupting high in the air with almost a claw-like regularity. In the volcano area, natural has left a specimen of an earlier creation, hot hot sulphurous springs, opal and sepia colored pools, violent gases and freely roaming deers, wolves, bison, and other wild creatures motoring along the roads of Wyoming to the Devil's Paint Pot of a bubbling hot mood, observing the gurgling springs, spouting geysers, and vaporous fountains. I was disposed to say that Yellowstone deserves as a special prize of for uniqueness. At Yosemite Park in California, the ancient majestic sequences stretching huge columns far into the sky are green natural cathedrals, huge column and designed with skilled diving. Thought they are a wonderful falls in the oriented, none match the torrential beauty of Niagara in New York on the Canadian border. Mammoth Cave in Kansutkli and a Claras Band Carvinal. Its caverns in New Mexico are a fairyland's long skeletons for the hanging from cave ciliations and mirrored in underground water presents a glimpse of other worlds as fancied by men. In Kashmir, a large number of the people, world famous and world famed for their beauty, are as white as Europeans and have similar features and bone a structure. Many are blue-eyed and blonde haired, dressed in Western clothes, and they look like American. The coldness of the Himalayas affords the Kashmir relief from the southly sun and preserves their light complexioness. As one travels south to the tropical latitudes of India, he finds progressively that the people are darker and darker. After spending happy weeks in Kashmir, I was forced to make preparations to return to Bengal for the fall term of the Serampur College. Sri Yukteswar, Kanai, and Audi were to remain in Srinagar a while longer. Shortly before I departed, Master hinted that his body would be subjected to suffering in Kashmir. Sir, you look a picture of health, I prostrated. There is a chance that I may even leave this earth. Guruji, I fell at his feet with an imploring gesture. Please promise that you won't leave your body now. I am utterly unprepared to carry on without you. Sri Yukteswar was silent, but smiled at me so compliance and smiled at me so compassionately that I felt reassured and reluctantly I left him. Master dignitously ill. This telegram from Audi reached me shortly after my return to Serampur. Sir, I write my guru is frankly. I asked for the promise not to leave me. Please keep your body. Otherwise I also shall die. But it as you wish. This was Master's reply from Kashmir. A letter from Audi arrived in a few days, informing me that that master has recovered. On his return to Serampore during the next fortnight, I was grieved to find my Guru's body reduced to half its usual weight. Fortunately for his disciples, Sri Yukteswars burned many of their sins in the fire of his servants' favor in Kashmir. In the metaphysical method of a physical transfer of diseases is known to highly advanced yogis. A strong man may assist a weak one by helping the latter to carry a heavy load. A spiritual superman is able to minimize the physical and mental troubles of his displays by assuming a part of their karmic burdens, just as a rich man relignions some money when he pays off a large debt for his prodigal son, who is thus saved from the dire consequences of his folly. So a master willingly sacrifice portions of his bodily wealth to to lighten the misery of disciplines. By a secret yogic method, the Sant units his mind and astral vehicle with those of a suffering individual. The disease is conveyed wholly or in a part to the yogis fleshly from having heart wasted God on the physical field. A master is no longer concerned with his body. Thought he may allow it to become a dissipated in order to relieve other person. His mind unpollutable. He is not affected. He considers himself a fortunate. It's a fortunate in being able to render such aid to achieve final salvation in the Lord is intended to find that the human body has completely fulfilled its purpose. A master then use it in any way he deems fit. A guru's work in the world is to elevate the sorrows of mankind, whatever it's whether through a spiritual means or intellectual consuel of willpower or a physical transfer of desire of a disease, escaping to the super consciousness whenever he so desire. A master can become obviously of a physical illness. Sometimes, to set an example for a discipline, he chooses to bear bodily pains stoically by putting on the elements of others. A yogi can satisfy for them the karmic law of cause and effect. This law is mechanically or mathematically operative. Its working may be significantly manipulated by men of divine wisdom. The spiritual law does not require a master to become ill whenever he heals another person. Healing's ordinary takes place through the son's knowledge of various methods of instant cure, in which no hurt to spiritual healer is involved on rare occasions. However, a master who wished to crank greatly his discipline's evaluation may then voluntarily work out on his own body a large mixture of their undesirable karma. Jesus signified himself as a ransom for the sins of many with his divine powers. Christ could never have been subjected to death by crucifixions if he had not willingly comprehended with the stable cosmic with the stable cosmic and law of cause and effect. He thus took and on himself the consciousness of others' karma, especially that of his disciplines. In this manner, they were highly purified and made fit to receive the omnipresent consciousness or a Holy Ghost that later descended upon them. Only a self realized master can transfer his life force or conveniently into his own body the diseases of others. An ordinary man cannot employ this yogic method of cure, nor is it desirable that he should do that he should do so, because an unsound physical instrument is a hindrance to deep meditation. The Hindu scriptures teach that an imperative duty of the man is to keep his body in a good condition. Otherwise, his mind is unable to remain fixed in a devotional considerations. A very strong mind, however, can transcend all physical difficulties and attain to God realization. Many sons have ignored illness and succeed in their divine quiets. As St. Francis of Assisi himself severely afflicted with ailments, healed other men, and even raised the dead. I once knew an Indian sant, half of whose body in his earlier years had been convenient with sores. His diabetic illness had been so acute that he had found it difficult to sit still at one time for more than 15 minutes. But his spiritual aspirations had been undeterrable. Lord, he had prayed, wilt thou come into my broken temple? With ceaseless command of a will, the son had gradually become able to sit in the lotus posture daily for 18 hours, engrossed in the ascetic trance, and he told me at the end of 3 years I found the infinite light blazing within me, rejoicingly in its splendor. I forget the body that I saw that it had become whole throughout the divine mercy. Christ said just before he was led away to the surf to be purified. Purified is thinkest though that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels. But how then shall the spirituals and the spirituous be fulfilled? That use is must be. Historical healing, ancient cons- concerned King Barber in 1483 to 1530, founder of the Mughal Empire in India. His son Humayun became gravely ill. The father prayed with anguished determination that he received the medley and that his son be spared. Humayun recovered. Babur immediately fell sick and died of the same diseases that had stricken his son. Many persons believe that the great master should have the health and strength of a Shando. The assumed tense is unfounded. A sickly body does not indicate that a guru is lacking in divine powers any more than lifelong health necessarily indicated inner illumination. The discussing qualifications of a master and not a physical but a spiritual. Numerous believed seekers in the West energetically think that an eloquent speaker or write on a metaphysics must be a master. Proof that one is a master, however, is supplied only by the ability to enter at will the breathless state, and by the attainment of immutable bliss. The rishis have pointed out that solely by these achievements may a human being demonstrate that he was has mastered Maya. In the dualistic cosmic dualizations, he alone may say from the path of realizations at the Ekamsant. Only one exists. When there is a duality because of ignorance, one sees all things as a distant from the self. Shankara, the great monist, has written, when everything is known as the self, not even an atom is seen as other than the self. As soon as knowledge of the reality has springed up, there can be no fruit of past actions to be experienced owing to the unreality of the body, just as there can be no dream after walking. Only great girls are able to assume the karma of a disciplines. Sri Yukteswar would not have suffered in Srinagar unless he had received permission from the spirit within him to help his disciplines in that strange way. Few, few sant were ever more sensitively equipped with wisdom to carry out divine commands that make God turn master. When I ventured a few words of sympathy over his emaciated figure, my guru said gaily, "It has its good points. I am able not to get into the small and into the some small Ganges. It's a undershirts. Ganges, it's a undershirts that I haven't worn for years." Listening to masters joyfully laugh, I remember the words of St. Francis de Sales, a sant that is said is a sad sant. Thank you.